Something that we've absolutely loved and adored about Mike Zimmer is when he came in 2014, just grizzled and all that stuff. Turned around the number 32 ranked scoring defense in the league in 2013 to one of the best in the NFL. But also, he retained defensive play calling duties, which we thought a little bit antiquated, a little bit whatever, and that could eventually take away from him becoming a truly great head coach. He's just more of a defense coordinator with a challenge flag, right? Plus, just to be completely reductive about it, it's like all of us on Madden were out there, like we can call plays like under smoke. Every single down, every single time, or just run goal line. That's how we do, right? But at times, Zimmer has been the only defensive head coach calling plays at times in the NFL. Marvin Lewis took over at times in Cincinnati towards the end of his tenure with the Bengals. Sean McDermott intermittently with the Buffalo Bills, taking things away from Leslie Frazier, which is a travesty. And then Brian Flores, first year in Miami, as well as now Mike Vrabel with Dean Pease, a longtime great defense coordinator, retiring. So it's an anomaly. It is a little weird, right? So even if you look at Belichick, like Belichick is one of the greatest defensive minds in NFL history, but people forget that because he's a great head coach, because he understands that he has to manage all phases of the game. Actually, Belichick's even more of like a special teams coach than a defensive coach nowadays. Just he knows all the intricate nooks and crannies and game situations. He abdicated responsibility of the defense, even though if you look at his tenure, like the Super Bowl against the Bills, the one where Scott Norwood missed wide right, that was quite possibly the greatest defensive game plan of all time, where they stopped the K-gun, they stopped that high-powered Bills offense by Belichick's game plan. Like, hey, he sold to Lawrence Taylor and those great Giants defenders, like, hey, we're going to let them run on us. And just imagine selling that. But, yeah, about Belichick, he has given up play calling. You look at Romeo Crennel back in the day, early tenure with the Patriots, and then Dean Pease was also with the Patriots. Matt Patricia called plays. Brian Flores called plays before he got the job in Miami. So, I mean, if the GOAT can do it, I mean, why can't Mike Zimmer, right? When Zimmer was asked about this, because this has come up quite a bit during Zimmer's tenure, so he was asked about this in January. He said this, quote, about giving up play calling, quote, I don't know that. I don't know that yet. I'm going to give these guys an opportunity to see how they do it. They've been with me for a number of years now, so they know how I like the game called. It would take some things on my plate, which would be good, but in the end, I'm going to do what's best for the Minnesota Vikings, end quote. So he knows that it would be good to take a little something off of his plate. Plus, it's not like you're giving him full autonomy, right? So if things aren't going very great, I mean, Zimmer can open up a communication line in the headset, be like, hey, do this, hey, do that, or hey, how about this, how about that, how about I like this. Where Zimmer still has that oversight on offense as well. Or situationally, like he's not obviously not calling offensive plays with his OCs, but situationally he'd be like, like to run the ball here. Actually, just cut and paste that, because that's exactly what Zimmer's going to say. But he has ceded play calling duties before because he had to. So 2016, Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys, famously when Zimmer had to miss that game because of issues with his eyes, Prefer was head coach, whatever. Edwards calling plays. He did great. There was a very near-run thing. The offense let the Vikings down. Also, Adam Thielen had speaking of coaches more on their plate, so Prefer was still special teams coach to a degree as he was head coach, and then Thielen fumbled 2 punts. Now, I understand a special teams coach just being your star player, like, hey, don't fumble. I know that's not a thing, but optically, And also, deep down, we know that Zimmer doesn't want to do it. He just does not want to give up that play call, all right? It's like why he's always wanted a head coach of the offense, with Norv, with Shermer, with John DeFilippo, now with Kubiak, because he wants to just be like, you take care of that, and I will take care of my baby, right? And I hear you. What about offensive coaches? They can call plays all day long, and why not the defense? Well, we've talked about this before. I feel like it's purely speculative, but I feel like offense is much more conducive to the flow and management of a game because it is active as opposed to reactive, right? So think about it. I mean, the defense is always reacting to the offensive strategy generally. Like, offense obviously makes adjustments, but defense, there's a reason why offense scripts its first 15 plays. Defenses don't, right? Because defenses always see what the offense is going to do on a given day, on a given week, and then there's like, all right, so we're going to adjust on the fly. That takes up a lot of bandwidth that I think, frankly, Zimmer, it would be better spent somewhere else. So the overall role of a head coach on game day, managing the clock, the flow of the game, situational football, it's much more conducive for an offensive play caller as opposed to a defensive play caller. That's just my 2 cents, right? And if there ever was a defensive coordinator that he would give up play calling to, I think it would be Adam Zimmer. I mean, yes, you'd call it straight up nepotism, but I think that that's the case. And also, frankly, I think his co-regional defensive coordinator, Andre Patterson, would be dynamite as well. Patterson at least has some college experience from Western Michigan way back in the day, as well as he was defense coordinator at UTEP before he came to the Vikings, and also he was head coach at Cal Poly University in the 90s, so at least he has some experience there. But frankly, I think Zimmer retaining play calling is limiting his growth as a head coach. I really do. I think if you finally just let that go, and then all of that extra bandwidth on game day and also in game plan can be freed up to be just a great CEO of the entire team. I think that's the next step for Mike Zimmer. And also, it limits his subordinates on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Edwards would have been perfectly fine calling plays. It might have even gotten him a head coaching job by now, but now he's like the linebackers coach of the Cowboys. Great. And also, if he wants to see his son rise, if he wants to see sunrise, I get it. If he wants to see Andre Patterson rise, like if Andre Patterson eventually wants to be a head coach, having defensive play calling duties on his resume would be massive. It absolutely would. So Zimmer's limiting his growth as a head coach, and he's also limiting the growth of his assistants, which is no good for anyone, right? So I think he should finally give it up, even though he's really effing good at it. But yeah. All right, but your thoughts? Zimmer giving up play calling? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. You want to support the work? Pull us on the Venmo. Please give us a follow on social media as well. Until next time, Skol, production value.